Well, that wasn't a very smooth introduction, was it? How's everyone doing? Welcome, welcome. If you're here, because I was just on the Transatlantic Call-In show, welcome. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Glad you decided to tune in. I had a lot of fun. Plan on going back on again. So yeah, what are we doing today? Since I did just do that stream, I thought we'd kind of chill and not do anything too intense. There'll be some, like, conspiracy nonsense, some right-wing nonsense, but we're not going to take it too seriously. We're not going to get heated. If it gets too bad, we're going to watch some fun stuff. We're just going to have a fun day. And maybe you'll get a taste of what it's like to be on a Hannah stream if you never have, and you'll stick around. We are on YouTube as well as Twitch, so hello to everyone. If you're on YouTube, please like the stream. If you are on Twitch, you're doing everything you can. Thank you. Hi, how's it going? Looks like we're on a hype train on Twitch. Let's see messages and stuff, and then we can get into it. Shall we? Lucas Dawn, thanks for 32 months. Mirusama, thanks for a 5-stream streak. Says, oh shit, this popped up before I could think of a math problem. God damn it. What's 2 times 2? You're on thin ice, Halloween Town. Joking. Overthought says, great job on the live show with Arden. Glad everyone got to experience a little bit of what a normal Hannah stream is like when you went on about the gay rat sex as a new top of Maslow's hierarchy. Okay, look, I was trying to behave. I was doing my best. That's me buttoned up, okay? That's the best I can do. I can give you only mentioning hedonistic gay rat sex Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'll do it once per stream, okay? We're fine. No, that seriously was fun. That was fun. I was invited on again, so I will go on again whenever I get the opportunity. It really was fun. That Paul bloke, thanks for subscription with Prime. Artemis with 36 months says, Hannah, the time has come. I've granted you power, and now you must fulfill your end of the bargain. Give me the child. You have the child. The child's name is Rumpelstiltskin. DM Trey, thanks for gifting 10 tier 1 subs. That's so generous of you. Terradona gifts too, thank you. 2 times 2 is easy, though. You're easy, though. It's 4, I know. Trevor with 200 bits says, verify the function yx equals 2x to the power of 1 over 2 minus x 1 over 2 satisfies the differential equation. If you ask me to do long division, you're really over trying right now. You could ask me to do a long division problem and you'd already have me stumped. Don't do more work than you need to. Work smarter, not harder. That's all I'm saying. Fuzzy Simba, thanks for 10 months. And that catches us up 17% to level 4. Hydrate. I can do that. I do like water. I appreciate in YouTube chat someone's name is Hunter Biden's hog. Just gotta shout that out. Anyway, let's jump into some right-wing watch stuff before I get annoyed and we inevitably have to go watch a cleanse or something. Oh boy, QAnon Shaman, what's he talking about?
What do you think?
I know QAnon Shaman wants his hat back. I don't know if anyone noticed that. The QAnon Shaman guy from January 6th is really upset that they won't give his hat back. I get it. I also like hats. Not as big of a fan of insurrection, but you know how it is.
About Ray Epps getting basically a slap on the wrist, a 1 year of probation. Ray Epps gets 1 year of probation. Is that slap on the wrist a slap in the face to individuals like you who really were locked up for significant time?
Prosecutors could have come after him with so much more, and they didn't for a reason. And if you look...
Go ahead, Demos. Why do you think I don't hate cute animal videos. They're just hard to play, because often they have copyrighted music over them when they're from YouTube.
Look at the way he was treated with kid gloves by the Mockingbird media.
Make it sound like I hate small animals.
Yeah, if you look at the way he's been treated with...
It's not true. I only hate horses, and it's because they scare me.
Kid gloves by the government.
Oh, I hate shorts. Oh, it's fine. I can change shorts to normal videos by changing the URL.
And then if you parallel that...
Why is he not getting the hat back? Evidence, I think? I don't know.
with the way that confidential informants that committed very real crimes.
I hate butterflies too. Well, that's a separate issue. DM Trey says x plus x equals 2x. What is x? Let's see. X plus x equals 2x. What is x? 2x. What could I put? What plus itself equals 2 times the thing? 2. The answer is 2. X equals 2.
In their working for the government.
I did it, I think.
Are treated and have been treated in the past. In my opinion, it's just further evidence that Ray Epps was working for.
Proof. Let me guess. I know what this video is. Look at this. Oh, no, it's not. Okay.
Dad, I had it.
I legitimately thought that was going to be a different video. Give me a sec. Hey, Shannon.
Mom?
How's it going?
Dad, I had a nightmare that Robert was trying to hurt me.
Oh, sweetie, Robert's your twin brother. He would never hurt you.
I also had the bad dreams, Mommy.
Oh, both my poor boys. Daddy's gonna take you back to bed, and I promise I'll have pancakes for you both in the morning.
I don't want to be alone with him.
And I don't want to be up in 2 hours to go to work. But sometimes one person wants to focus on their
This is giving me we need to talk about Kevin vibes.
music career, and another person wants to have kids.
Good night, Papa.
Good night, boys.
More pancake for me.
Alright. Where were we? Thanks for the hype train, everyone. Apparently I was wrong about the math problem. What a shock. Look at that horse.
Hot air balloon. Other than me. I'll click print, and we'll print it out. Now, while we're doing that, let me show you something really impressive. That picture, remember the picture of the horse I showed you earlier? Well, here it is, blown up. This is a big horse. Order now. You get the camera, you get the printer. 4x optical zoom. Schneider lens. Photo printer. SD card. Look at that horse. The bushy tail, the big teeth, the hooves. Okay, my producer, Tara Cates, just told me this isn't a horse, it's a butterfly.
Easy mistake to make. Carry on, sir. Anyway, QAnon Shaman.
For the government the whole time, either as a confidential informant or as some form of a federal agent.
Yeah, I think it's so obvious now. It's crystal.
Can I only juggle balls or can I juggle pins and or rings? I think I've done rings, but it was a long time ago. I've never done pins. I just don't have them. Could I learn? Probably, but I never have.
Clear. He was telling people, go over there, go in there. We're going to go and storm the Capitol. Yay. I mean, he was the one that was most outspoken about storming the Capitol, which is just anyone who was doing that and dressed up in Trump gear and looking a certain way. When you look back at a lot of these tapes, it really is obvious who were agent provocateurs.
Agent provocateurs. Something consistent within both right-wing and conspiratorial circles is a complete and utter inability to take responsibility for one's own actions. It's pretty interesting. I think that's one of the reasons that, like, right-wing people often rhetorically harp on, like, personal responsibility. It's almost a projection. They don't take responsibility, but they demand others do so. It's interesting.
And who were
We didn't do anything wrong. It was the feds.
actual legit people thinking that they were going to a rally and going into this what they thought was basically a museum.
What was
Nick
basically
Fuentes
a museum.
also is seen on camera.
What does that even mean? We, breaking into Congress, yelling about hanging politicians and trying to stop the certification of the Electoral College votes. It's basically a day at the Louvre. Go fuck yourself. I hope you never get your hat back. I hope you remain bereft of hat. I hope for the rest of your days you're haunted by a lack of a chapeau. Oh. Oh, thanks, Calissa? Hi.
Camera telling his groypers to move past the barriers, ignore the police, and take the Capitol. He has not been arrested.
That is weird.
Nick Fuentes is a piece of shit. I agree. Nick Fuentes probably should be held responsible for one thing or another, but, like, that doesn't make the thing you did not illegal. Becoming a poster boy for a really stupid failed insurrection attempt, like, not a good life move, generally.
All that happened to him was he had to testify before the J6 committee. So you have two people that are seen on camera telling people to go into the Capitol, and yet there's no obstruction charges, there's no conspiracy charges, none of this stuff.
I'm pretty sure there is against Trump. Anyway, moving on.
The founder of Western Journal. You're also Kari Lake's manager, campaign manager. That's correct? I get that right?
Well, my title is campaign chairman.
That's what I said, campaign chairman.
Yeah, and I'm very active in the campaign and very close to both her and her husband, and they're just wonderful people, and I really felt led of the Holy Spirit to.
Is it a totalitarian state if you just make everyone get therapy? Just a thought.
America.
Is the same guy who is, again, the chairman of Kari Lake's campaign. Did she drop out yet? Genuinely don't know.
How do we take back America? We do it.
Thanks, Horrifying Apocalypse. Glad you liked it.
By you taking back your street. We do it by you occupying your neighborhood.
Oh, I don't like the sound of that, even a little.
We do it by your local church taking over your town.
You know, I feel like there's maybe a history of theologically driven governments of theocracies that have existed throughout history. And I've never looked at them and thought, man, that is so great. That worked out awesome for everyone, or even most people. We should do that. I don't think that would be very fun, even for most Christians. I wouldn't recommend it. MH Darkbeast says, boys are still Grinch-sized, so happy for a Hannah stream for a fun... Wait, what is this? Fidity reaction. Speaking of distraction, porn is kryptonite. What in the world? What?
Colossal Man. Strength, level 10. Vision, 9. Weakness? Porn? Wow, that's right out there.
So?
I'm sorry, is this serious? Is this a joke, or is this like an actual...
Having super strength has its perks around...
Is this like an actual right-wing thing, or is this a joke about right-wing things? Pornography use thrives in secrecy. Oh no! Okay, it's actually an anti-porn thing. To be clear, there are people who have problems with pornography. Like anything that gives your brain the good feelings, hypothetically, you can become unhealthfully involved in that thing. Whether it's, you know, alcohol or weed or porn or whatever. Even if something doesn't make you physically dependent, you can have an unhealthy relationship with it. But holy crap, so much of the anti-porn rhetoric, the majority of it, isn't actual concern about people making sure that they keep their perspective of reality in check. It's just about evangelical weirdness and trying to get young men sexually frustrated so they more easily fall for right-wing bullshit. Not even saying that's necessarily an intent. I'm not saying there are people in a room going, we will make young men stop masturbating and they'll all become neo-Nazis. No, I just think it's a convenient result of a lot of their beliefs. I think being frustrated and not being able to, in a healthy way, have a sexuality, I think that leads people towards really bad places. So, yeah. Did I like doing the line? Yeah, it was great. It's a lot of fun.
What if, like, a bad guy reads this? Remember what happened last time?
Right, that was a disaster. Despite all that training.
I'm just gonna be real with you. If there was a superhero universe where the main guy who was like the Superman of the world, his weakness was porn, I might become a supervillainess just because I think it would be really funny. Like, is it my fault if Superman, Analogy Man, is into porn and that's hilarious? I'm just saying, my plots will be hilarious.
I did with the human bat.
All you have to do is, like, take hostages at the Adult Video Awards or, like, the Adult Expo in Vegas when it happens, and they can't do anything. It'd be like a kryptonite convention for Superman. You know what I mean?
Do we call him that because we can't say Batman?
Did I see where one of Trump's lawyers got caught lying to the court about saying she can't make it because her parents have COVID and she's sick? Yes, and then someone took a picture with her publicly at a party, I think at Mar-a-Lago, maybe somewhere else though. And they kicked him out because, of course, you're not supposed to lie to the judge. I don't know if you know this. Perjury's not a thing you want to do as a lawyer.
Yeah, we can't say Batman.
That wasn't training. You just wore a blindfold.
Yeah, if you are from the line, give the stream a like, maybe subscribe if you're enjoying it. Follow me if you're on Twitch. Wherever.
And got your butt kicked.
Dude, super hearing?
Well...
Isn't the whole world pornography to him, then? If he has super hearing, how does he even deal with it? He can hear everyone else's porn. You know what I mean? Like, he can keep it in check. He can block Pornhub, or a more ethically sourced website where people get illicit material. But he can't block his neighbors. Just saying.
Remember when you fought Genghis Khan?
Yeah.
And Eagle Bob?
Why aren't all his villains sex-themed?
Yeah.
And when you...
I'll be the tit mistress. I will be the tit mistress, and I will show up topless, and he will never defeat me, because he'll be hypnotized by my titties. Like, I'm just saying, these supervillains are not making use of very obvious things.
Stepped on Dolores' cat?
Hey, Cat Lady is a legitimate supervillain. And so is her cat.
Sure, buddy, keep rolling with that. But for the 15th time, that's Catman's mom. Her name is Dolores.
Well, hello.
She makes the best butterscotch macarons in the city. Anyways, porn used to really affect you. You'd be out of it for days while Hamster Man was...
Explicit, you're right. Illicit is illegal. My bad. Fenekagami says, this interview reminds me of an article I saw Vosh go over recently. It was an interview with an average Trump voter covering the man's political journey from being a Nikki Haley supporter to a full-blown Trump supporter. It was a fascinating look into their mindset and helped show that most of these people are politically incoherent and are operating purely on their feelings. I mean, that's, I think, most people in general. Like, honestly. Like, that's not fun to hear, but that's how most people are. Even people who are like, I'm very logical, and I consider myself that. I try and do my best, but we're all led by emotion. We just don't realize it all of the time. Some are better than others. I'd like to think me and people in my chat who regularly watch content like this and mine try and keep that in check, but there are just a lot of people who don't even think about that. So, yeah, people do be like that. It's unfortunate.
Was out saving the city.
That was...
Oh, Wilhelm scream. Cool. Still doing those? Okay.
Sort of a career low point. I knew I had to get porn out of my life, but nothing...
Is that his family?
I knew I had...
Is his wife Ronald McDonald's daughter? Like, what? Are there some recessive Wendy's genes in here? What is this? And also, why is this family portrait? Why is he, like, behind a thing? What is this? What? Ah.
I had to get porn out of my life, but nothing I tried on my own worked. I tried cold turkey. Disgusting. I tried freezing showers. Not my hottest moment. I even worked overtime.
Yeah, you arrested your own mother for jaywalking.
Hey, guys!
Sorry, Mom, I'm too horny, so I arrested you. That had to be a weird conversation.
Also, don't forget...
This is getting a little Homelandery.
Yeah, you tried a whole bunch of filters and firewalls too, but those just weren't enough.
Especially for me. I'm impervious to fire and walls.
And you can just turn them off. Filters aren't a solution. They're a tool to help along the journey. But alone, they can't create lasting change.
Yup, the filters, the firewalls, even all that training with the human bat, none of it worked. Because in the end, I was always by myself, and they never allowed me to confront the root of the problem. Eventually, the temptation would get too strong, and I just never had the willpower to keep going.
The root of the problem is...
Trying to quit porn alone was like trying to climb a ladder in a giant hamster ball. I needed more. I needed someone I could trust to hold me accountable. I needed an ally.
Jesus.
Dude, exactly.
Is it Jesus?
You needed...
Oh no, it's this guy. He's gonna be his porn buddy.
The wingman.
I'm just trying to imagine the dynamic where you're presumably like two kind of conservative straight guys, or at least that seems to be what's going on here, and you gotta call your friend like they're an AA sponsor and be like, hey, I am so horny right now, bro, but I can't look at porn. What do I do? Like, I don't know. That's an interesting conversation to have.
Yeah, that's why I love the Victory app from Covenant Eyes. It's more than just a filter.
Oh my god, this is the app that, Josh, what the fuck is his name? Josh Duggar used this with his wife because she was trying to keep an eye on his illegal activities, and then he got around it anyway. But this is the same app that Josh Duggar, the convicted pedophile, his wife used with him because she was concerned about his porn addiction, when in reality his porn addiction wasn't a porn addiction as much as it was being a pedophile. Fuck. Logard says, the last time I was this concerned about my friend's most recent orgasms was that FurryCon last week. Funny.
Accountability lets you see what I see, and knowing that helps reduce the temptation.
Doesn't the Speaker of the House use this too? That makes me want to cry. You're telling me that one of the highest elected officials in this country feels that they require a babysitting app for their own internet usage because of porn? Are we sure this is all, like, for realsies? Just to check. Like, is this a punchline? Are we in a Twilight Zone episode and we're in someone's really badly written dream? Because at this point, like, I'm 50-50 on if that's the better of the two options. Hydrate. His son is the sponsor, and vice versa. Oh boy. Just a father-son activity of telling each other when you're horny.
Immediately.
Covenant Eyes was a game changer. I could finally help you in a tangible way. I knew when to reach out, what to talk about, the notifications.
Hey, bro, I just got a notification that you're watching a bunch of, stepsister porn. What's up with that?
Extra content.
Is this your fault? Fenekagami says, to conservatives, porn used and being, porn use and being a PDF file are basically the same thing. Man, it's almost like their priorities and worldview are super fucked, huh?
And everything else. After that, there was no more guessing.
I was just glad to have you as my ally. With you on my team, I started making better decisions on day one. And over time, our conversations helped me go longer and longer without looking. With each meeting, I felt stronger. Eventually, it just got easier to resist. And I was finally able to quit porn for good.
Yeah, man. Porn is a human problem, and Covenant Eyes gives us a human solution. Actually,
its design is very human. Logard says, Larry Flint's wheelchair wheels are spinning in his grave watching these Puritans pulling the same bullshit all over again. Larry Flint was a big piece of shit. So, like, just for the record. No, porn shouldn't be illegal, but he also wasn't a great guy, just for the record. DM Trey says, as a former Mormon, I can assure you this doesn't work. I know. It's about shame. It's about control through shame.
Actually seeing what you saw,
It's like you're right there with me when I need you most. With porn out of my life, my relationship with Jen started getting better, our family life improved.
and you rocketed back to the #1 hero in Victory City.
Yes! Even the strongest heroes in the world can struggle with porn. Not only does Covenant Eyes help me be a better hero, but a better husband, father, and friend. If you're really ready to quit porn, stop stumbling around with a blindfold on. Team up with an ally and let accountability restore your superpowers. Try Covenant Eyes today. Sifu? 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 This is stupid.
Good. Very good.
Hey, didn't you tell me you had that ladder endorsement thing today?
Nah, that fell through.
Oh, really? I thought you were perfect for that.
Yeah, they decided to go with a different guy.
No. Who?
The luchador.
Oh, that was supposed to be like an end beat joke. Oh shit, that wasn't funny. That was lame. Bummer. Eldronder says you could have this app and call it, Join Twank and make it about simul jerking without changing anything but the marketing. My goodness. My brain is having an unfortunate day having to read the words you people send me. Atheist Brony says, I never thought a day would come when I would rather be watching Bible Man, but here we are. Here we are. I have Bible Man. I have some Bible Man over there, if you'd like. Shadow of Doubt. Now I got Bible Man's villain song stuck in my head, and I think that's your fault. That's your fault. Oh no.
I think only Christians can have a really proper understanding of history because we're the only ones that have the proper understanding of the world and have the right worldview.
First question, how many years old is the world? This is the determining factor about whether or not I'm going to laugh at your face.
And this has been a plague on our society.
Talking about trans kids.
The idea that parents, when God gives
No, Bible Man never talked about porn.
them children, would then
At least not directly. I'm trying to think, did they ever do an analogy episode where it's like, this is kind of a stand-in for porn, but it's a kid's show, so we're not going to talk about porn? I want to say no. I don't want to, like, leave it out, because there were a lot of weird things on that show, and I own most of it, but I don't remember there being an episode that was, like, porn. There was a Mad TV sketch with Bible Dude that basically did that, I think. But I don't think there's been an actual Bible Man episode about it.
slap God in his face, spit in his face.
Did they get consent first? Because that's the important thing. I don't know what God's into. Profane Priestess says, public service announcement, Mike Johnson does not share his porn app with his son. He shares it with a prepubescent child who he took in and adopted as his son. For many years, the kid lived with them, and we're not sure if the adoption is real. The kid doesn't show up in other things like family portraits either. For a political party who does a lot of rhetoric about family values, I swear to God, like, Republican politicians have the weirdest, like, grotesque family dynamics. I'm trying to even think of a comparison. What's a really fucked up family in fiction that you could compare it to, where it's all dysfunctional and all a show for other people? Anyway, it's not fun. It's not fun.
And then destroy what he gave them by trying to confuse and change their gender. I'm
gonna be honest, my gender hasn't changed. My gender expression has changed to match my gender. But, like, the gift that God gave me, if you're talking about my penis, no thank you. Return to sender. God can have it.
Children.
What do you think? Can I send that media mail? Or am I gonna have to weigh it?
Children are an abomination to the
Logart says, I'm sorry, I can't not see googly eyes on this guy's hat.
Lord. Because to spit into God's face, into being
The Puppingtons. Yeah, that's a good example.
Abomination is not what he wants.
Jesus Christ. These friggin' people.
We don't want reasonable. We don't want reasonable. We want a revolution. We want a Trump revolution. We want Trump to be the dictator, to change politics forever. We don't want fucking your democracy, dude. We don't want...
Does he know they already cast the Riddler in the Batman? That movie already came out.
Reliable establishment GOP politics. We want Trump to come in here and metaphorically have a gun and just take them all out. Just take them all out. That's kind of what we want. We want to, like, lock down the country and start sending people to jail.
I just always think about stuff like this, and, you know, there's that level of course, I'm trans, so I am afraid of this stuff too. But on a realistic level, when I step back and try and distance myself from my anxiety, well, a lot of bad things hypothetically could happen. The extent to which someone like this wants things to happen are not plausible? Let me put it that way. I don't think they're plausible in the way that he is saying. So it just makes me wonder, what's the rest of life like for these people? Like, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, this guy's gonna hate the rest of his life. Like, the government of the United States might get shit, but I don't think it's gonna turn into, like, abject Nazism or, like, totalitarian fascism like he wants. I get it. Please still go vote and stuff, but, like, this ain't happening, even if things got worse. So he's just gonna be sad for the rest of his life and angry and hate everyone who isn't like him. Like, what's that? That's not fun. That's not life. Why you doing that to yourself? Ugh.
We want, like, a Trumpian hit squad to go around, like, politically.
You can just say brown shirts. I think people know what brown shirts are. Okay. What about this one?
Be sure of this, that the things that you're about to see this year are going to rock your understanding. They're going to bring your faith to the edge, and you're going to realize that the spiritual battle that's been at hand, the things that were uncovered in 2016, 17, 18, 19, and 20 shall be brought to light. That the things that we know about certain people who drink certain things extracted from children is true.
He's talking about adrenochrome. Not a thing the way that he's saying. Adrenochrome, even if it was something that it was most easily extracted from tortured children, which it's not, wouldn't be a drug you would take recreationally. Like, it's not something that you're gonna have a good time with. I talked about this the other day. Like, can you take it? Hypothetically, but again, it doesn't come from human beings. It can be synthesized. It's not something that you would want to put in your body. It would be horrifying, like taking too much Benadryl or watching the 700 Club.
It's been true. It's in the Bible.
Razor Girl Luna says, dang, Ra's al Ghul's been seeing some hard times. You know how it is. Lazarus pits aren't working as well as they used to. No Lazarus pits want to work anymore.
There's a spiritual battle of wickedness, sorcery, evil, destruction on a level that you can't understand because you see it in horror movies, but you don't believe it.
I love movies so much. I don't know if anyone has gotten this impression, but I'm a fan of movies, you know? Only I signaled it somehow. I feel like listening to conspiracy theorists consistently in arguments try and be like, you see movies, the movies are real! It's driving me insane. It's legitimately driving me up a goddamn wall. Because I love movies. They're not real. Movies aren't real. Are people this incapable of understanding the concept of fiction? Like, I get it. You can see themes in movies that you can relate to things in real life, or even in your goddamn weird conspiracy fantasies. But that doesn't mean that the movie's real. It's a fucking movie. Oh my god.
And it's going on.
I think it would hurt me less, too, if it was like, they were talking about, like, good movies. But half the time they're like, this is just like Transformers, Dark of the Moon! God damn it. Just once, a conspiracy theorist, I want him to talk to me about Ari Aster. Lilac Rosenberg with a link to a TikTok.
Here's a quick update on the girl who got caught making fun of disabled people at the NHL game. Quick summary for you here. This lady and all her friends dressed up as silly as possible and bought ADA accessible, or what they used to call handicap accessible seats at a New York Islander game, and then proceeded to post a bunch of videos making fun of it. And it went viral, and of course the response was not great because...
What's the realest movie to me? Andy Warhol's Empire.
Why would you do that? Like, what kind of a person does that? So I decided to state my opinion on the video, and she posted a fake apology and deleted all of the videos and pretended as if she was sorry for about 5 minutes. And when that didn't go well, she privated her account and blocked everybody. But don't worry, it appears now she has taken to berating me on Twitter, thus showing that she's actually not sorry at all. And yeah, again, completely doubling down on it, but at this point, is it tripling or quadrupling down on it? I'm not even sure what to call it. But yeah, she's clearly not sorry in the slightest, and she's still going after me and everyone who's trying to call her out. So I'll link my Twitter in my bio. You can find it through there if you want to see.
Did I see the pastor did the crypto scam? No.
I don't really...
Do you have a link?
Personally care, because like...
I do like some crypto scams. Those are funny.
It's Twitter. I don't really pay much attention to Twitter. But that's where we're at. She has just taken it to another platform to see if it does well there instead. And this behavior is not okay. It's not okay. Like what? And now she's dragging me into it. Like this just is not okay. Although...
Fennec Agami says, why do right-wingers not understand they cause most of the things they complain about? They think they're being persecuted, but then they go around threatening the government and constantly refusing to properly talk to the people around them. The government has too much power, but they keep wanting to give the government power. I think you're looking for consistency where it doesn't exist. I think a lot of... Again, I hate even talking about this, because it makes it sound like I'm... And fuck it, I guess this is what it is. I don't have any expertise, I just do this. I've been doing this for 10 years. Take this as sophistry, because I guess that's what it is. But to me, it feels like broadly a lot of right-wing stuff is the result of protective ego function. It really feels like a lot of it's identitarian in nature. They have a certain identity of things that they have been told are good or bad, black and white, and they stick to that. And anything that deviates from that is like anathema to their mental well-being, so they have to concoct paranoid delusions and a map of the world that is inaccurate, because having an accurate map of the world isn't important to them. Maintaining the ego worldview sense of self they currently have is the paramount concern. There you go. Razor Girl Luna says, also, is it just me, or does the fascist future right-wing folks seem to want, in addition to being absolutely horrifying, sound really boring? Am I just the boring one here? No, you're right. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. Like, I've talked about this before. Outside of the moral considerations, which should be your primary considerations when talking about stuff like this, but clearly it isn't for a lot of these people. So outside of the moral considerations of you shouldn't want to hurt other people just because they're different than you, fascism is inherently an untenable way to run a society. Like, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Like, in an industrialized, globalized society, you are not holding on to that. It's just not happening. Like, the closest anyone got in recent history, and I'm using recent relatively here, is like the fascists of the 20th century. How long did Nazi Germany really last? How long did fascist Italy last relative to the 1,000-year empires they were imagining? You can't have a country run by incompetent losers whose entire political ideology is based on their own insecurities and expect to run a government or country properly. It's just nonsense. Like, a good example is, again, Nazi Germany. I know I'm going to that example, but I'm doing it. So there it is. Germany was behind on a lot of things. One of the things, for instance, is the atomic bomb. Do you know one of the reasons? is because a lot of the research that instigated people understanding atomic energy enough to create the atomic bomb was pioneered by people like Albert Einstein, who were Jewish. And instead of looking at reality as it was, fascist anti-Semites in Nazi Germany went, well, that's Jewish science, as if science is something that's, you know, racial. So instead they did their own bullshit. It's not helpful. Don't do that. That's the problem. If you're primarily ideologically driven by your own insecurities, you are never going to be able to function in society, much less run it. Please stop. Get some help. Anyway. Benigami says, to be fair, the Soviet Union was also fascist and they lasted over 50 years. Do you think 50 years is a long time? Like, I'm just saying, like, 50 years is not a long time. Being a totalitarian state, 50 years ain't great. Putting it out there. Anyway. And I would call them totalitarian.
And they do know...
Fascist has specific connotations. They're totalitarian. Fascist is... I get what you're saying, but I think a little inaccurate.
I get information all the time from Don Jr., and they do know that Trump has heard some of the things I've said before because God said it. It wasn't me, it was God saying it to him. And I just want you to know, God's not giving up on anything yet. And as long as Trump doesn't, Trump's still going to get his other 4 years that is due him. And
that's really good.
The elections, it may or may not happen to the elections, but I will just say this from heaven's mouth. Trump will have 4 more years. No matter what anybody thinks about it or wants to see it happen, it will happen.
Let's get on some stuff that isn't chuds. I need not chud stuff. Conspiracy stuff that isn't chud related, maybe? What conspiracy people can we look at and talk about? Not a cult. Sent a link earlier? Which one was it? Can you send it again? Oh, there's the crypto fraud thing. Sweet. Thank you for the links.
Federal officials have arrested an accused January 6th rioter who was prominently featured in a now infamous photo used in news reports and even in a Biden campaign ad. The suspect...
Oh, the spray guy. Okay.
Seen here unleashing orange chemical spray while wearing a gas mask was charged more than 700 days.
So Republicans just not like seeing pictures like this, or I don't know. I still hear them talking about it being like peaceful. Like, I don't understand. Have they genuinely not seen this, like pictures like this or what happened? Because I remember that day. We watched it live together. We streamed for like 6 or 7 hours during it. Have they not seen any of that? Or Skifazoa, thanks for 33 months at tier 2. Says, all right, I'm a Freemason now. Good, good. Now for your Illuminati initiation. We'll be in contact.
After online sleuths helped identify him. NBC's Ryan Riley is following all of this, as he always does for us. I guess the obvious question, Ryan, is what took so long?
You know, it's really interesting, Chris, because there are hundreds of people in this sort of same category. But the reason that the sleuths sort of put a lot of attention into this one was because they were frustrated with how long this was taking and how violent this act was. They gave that identification to the FBI at the end of 2021. So it has been more than 2 years since they gave that to him. And they really did a really expert job of tracking exactly who he was. And we're following him all along the way and keeping up with his social media accounts. And in fact, one of the things that
I'm guessing he continued to post dumb bullshit that incriminated him. H-Baird says, people can gaslight themselves with enough repetition into believing anything. Oh, believe me, I know. Captain Squid says, they think it's fine because something Milwaukee. I don't even get that reference.
really frustrated the sleuths, they told me, was that this guy was going on vacations when he was, sort of had never been charged or arrested in connection with this event. He took a ski vacation at one point, and there's photos of him out in a boat on Instagram. So that's something that I think really irritated the sleuths as well, that he had not been held accountable, not arrested, not charged up until recently. He was someone we focused on in our anniversary piece, and I spoke with one of the sleuths who said that they were really hoping for action on him soon. But they've got a whole lineup of these cases that are just waiting. And really, there's less than 2 years now left in the statute of limitations, which expires on the 5-year anniversary of the attack, which took place in 2026, Chris.
Ryan Riley.
Raptor Blue, thank you for the raid. Welcome, Raptor Blue viewers, and I hope you had a great stream, Raptor Blue. We're just hanging out, watching different videos, talking about them. Conspiracies, right-wing people, talking about weird stuff and hanging out. Kind of a chill stream. Check out Raptor Blue on Twitch, please. Captain Squiz says the George Floyd protests, if you push a lot of right-wingers on January 6th, they try to pivot to that. I gotcha.
Thank you for that.
Colorado pastor says God told him to launch a crypto venture. He's now accused of pocketing $1.3 million from his followers. Oh, good. Oh, good. I feel like God being a crypto bro almost makes sense to me. That tracks. After months of prayers and cues from God, he was going to start selling cryptocurrency. He announced in a YouTube video last April. Oh my goodness, I think we need to watch that video before we continue with the article. Oh, we didn't even delete it. That's wonderful. That's so good. That's so good. Thank you for leaving this up.
Okay, we are live now. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Index Coin live stream. So we have some very, very exciting news for everyone. Give me a second. Let me try to fix this little table. I'm getting some wobble. Hear me? Can anyone hear me?
No.
The big update today is that we are going live. For many of you guys who've been with us since the very beginning, this has been in an insane journey. I mean, first it was build your own blockchain. So let me just recap these little steps here. So we built our own blockchain.
But what does God need with a blockchain? H-Beard says a lot of these people, being racist, were scared shitless of the Black Lives Matter protests. Thus, they felt that they were justified in doing their little coup because Fox News told them that whole cities had burned down and that nobody was arrested, both of which were wrong. There was a conspiracy theory going around that summer that busloads of Antifa were going to roll into small towns and trash them. Some people formed little militias. They were so scared. Is America's primary personality profile a really scared paranoiac? Because it kind of feels like it.
It's an L1 blockchain. It's 100% proof of stake. We just cleared our audit with Hackin. We're going to be posting that to the website. We're going to have a little badge that says, approved by Hackin. The reason that's important is that is the #1 blockchain auditing firm in the world. It's also the toughest audit that a
Benekagami says, on the plus side, exit polling in New Hampshire signals that Trump's chance of re-election are getting worse. His base keeps shrinking and more former Trump voters are getting motivated to stop him from becoming president. I hope. Year's still early. We got months left.
Blockchain can actually go through on the planet, and we passed. So that was
L1. He's talking about level 1 because there are blockchains that operate sort of off the back of other blockchains, and I believe he's saying they are not. He is not on an L2 blockchain off of Ethereum. This is his own thing.
Amazing.
That's my understanding, at least.
All signed off on that.
The paranoid style in American politics has never not been correct. When he wrote that, he makes it very explicit in The Paranoid Style in American Politics. Hofstadter says he is not saying that American politics is particularly paranoid. It's not that he wasn't trying to say that American politics has a particularly paranoid style necessarily. He states in, not the first edition, but in a second or third edition of the release of a lot of this, that it's just what he knew. He says that these things exist elsewhere. And you can see this. Look at Australia. There's tons of QAnon people, too. But it is something that I think is exaggerated in American politics. I don't know if that comes from, like, puritanical cultural roots from early settler. I don't know. But there is a streak of paranoia, and it sucks. Paranoia ruins people's brains.
And then we got our license.
Like, no one trusts each other. I'm a victim of this too. No one can communicate because everyone's scared and in survival mode, and we all feel bad. Like, I'm not saying that this is justifying people's, like, actions and bigotry. It doesn't. I'm just trying to make it explicable. Can't solve something unless you try and explain it. I don't know.
Okay, so we got our license from Canada to actually have our own exchange to launch index coin on. So now we have our blockchain, we have our own exchange, we're a licensed entity for that. And then the last step was to get a bank account. And as we're getting our exchange license, we see the FTX collapse. As we're getting our banking account, we see the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, and Silvergate. Now, what's interesting is each one of our attorney groups was telling us to go to Signature Bank and Silvergate. And if
Derek Shadow says, I'm worried about some leftists sitting out due to Biden's unquestioning support for the Israeli government. It's not that I don't understand criticism of Biden and we should condemn the actions of Netanyahu, but holy fucking shit, please vote for harm reduction. That's how I feel about it too. I think, how do I put this? As much as I myself am a leftist and love other leftists, I think there's a problem sometimes of purity spirals where they cut off their nose to spite their face, and they go, I'm not gonna do this thing because I have moral compunctions against it. If that's how you feel, that's your prerogative. But I don't live in your world of moral truisms. I live in a material world where my rights are in danger. So I get it. I also try and choose harm reduction measures. Perfect is the enemy of good. I get it. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying, if you are so focused on everything being the way you want it exactly, things are never going to go the way you want. Okay.
If we would have done that, I mean, this thing would have been dead in the water before we even started. So
I'm a material girl. Yes.
We see the hand of God protecting us, protecting this vessel, protecting us in the midst of all this financial turmoil and moving us to the direction that he wants to go. So what I'm going to share with you guys today is a few things. One, I'm going to talk about, how we're hearing from the Lord and what God's telling us, specifically as it relates to this present day financial climate.
I cannot believe he's trying to make God a fucking crypto coin. Like, what is he doing?
4-4? Yeah. All right. Well, I got that one wrong. So
is he going to try and sell this as like the government can't touch your godly money?
Okay. So this is a verse that the Lord gave us a couple weeks ago. And he said, meditate on this verse. And it, as I was reading my morning Bible study, it says, let their table become a snare and a trap. And we were praying like, Lord, what bank account do we need to go with? Right? Because we see.
I often consult God about my banking needs. Don't the Bible say usury is illegal? Just a thought. H-Beard says if you went to Trumpist forums immediately after January 6th, everyone was simultaneously calling for violence while also accusing anyone else who called for violence of being federal agents. They couldn't organize anything else because they were all so paranoid they couldn't function. Trump getting kicked off social media stopped any further coup attempts. I saw that too. That day we were looking into that stuff, and the ever-shifting narrative from QAnon and right-wing people that day was quite interesting to look at. As it was starting, they were all on board. They were like, this is great, do it, yeah! And then as it became clearer and clearer, nothing was happening, and the government isn't a game of capture the flag. So, walking into the Capitol and just being there doesn't put you in charge of the government suddenly. The rhetoric shifted. All of a sudden, no, this is fake. This is a false flag. This is the feds trying to demonize us. When things are going their way, they get all the accolades. When they get called out for bullshit, nothing's ever their fault. It's frustrating.
see all these banks kind of shuddering, and I said, you know, which one's safe? Like, where are we supposed to put, you know, index coins, cash reserves, so that when we launch,
if Jesus could flip over your blockchain and whip you, he would.
We have everything.
Putting it out there. There's precedent.
In a safe environment. And the Lord said, meditate on this verse, and I wasn't getting it. And the Lord said, look up the word table. And so the word table in Greek literally means table. It also is a counter for money.
The word table in Greek means table. Can't argue with that.
Broker's office and a bank. A bank. So if you read that verse with bank in there, let me just pull that up again. It says, let their bank become a snare and a
Have you considered that God just wanted you to buy a really nice table?
trap with the Lord.
Like, I'm not saying that's definitely what happened. I'm not religious. I don't believe in God. I'm just saying your interpretation is a bit broad.
Was trying to show us is the banking system is a trap. Now, I know that's probably going to come as like a shot across the bow to a lot of people. They're like, what? And I was just like, what? Like,
famously, evangelicals are big fans of quote-unquote international bankers. Does anyone hear a whistle noise?
There's no way, like, I'm hearing this, right? Like, the bank is a trap. And we've just been following the Lord so long that we just know when we know that it's him. We said, okay, that's fine. If that's the case, if the bank's a trap, then you need to confirm it and you need to show us why, right? And so
God says, I, Admiral Akbard. The rest is up to you. You've been warned.
Here's what he said. So right after that, I started researching this, and I started looking at Signature, Silvergate, and Silicon Valley, and it says all these banks.
Voting doesn't equal endorsement. We need to pick our opponent. Yeah. Yep. That's pretty much how I feel about it.
Have a single story for
the and I don't mean to just like go back on this. I know this is random. I already stopped talking about the pragmatism thing in voting. And again, if you disagree with me, I'm not telling you you're a bad person. I'm telling you my feelings about it. If you disagree, that's fine. The way I feel about it is I could sit all day and think about all the moral considerations and things that I feel bad about voting for Joe Biden for. I get that. I understand those feelings. I understand the complexity of moral considerations, especially in a world as complicated as ours. There aren't easy answers. Everything interacts with everything. That's why people say that there's no ethical consumption under capitalism. Not just because everyone involved is an evil villain, but because the system itself is flawed and everything is so interconnected that it's nearly impossible to make actions that don't in some small way impact other people, or even in a large way. I could sit there all day and think about things like that. I get it. It's something you feel the need to do. On the other end of that, though, is you need to get up in the morning and make decisions the best you can. The way I see it, in American politics, I don't like the system we have. I don't like that we have a two-party system that's first past the post that precludes third parties from ever being taken seriously, but it is the system we are in currently. I don't get to think to myself, or I'm not thinking to myself, well, it's not an ideal world with a system I like, so I'm not gonna get involved. To me, that's not right. To me, what's important is harm reduction. To me, what's important is making decisions where I can that will help, even if those decisions are not perfect. Again, you don't have to agree with me. Perfectly fine. It's just how I view it. You can work to try and change the system while also, like, voting and, like, making a decision. Because in November, one of two people is going to win. Biden or Trump. Unless either of them dies before then because they're old as fuck. Those are your choices. In life, we often get choices. A lot of the times, none of the choices are good. You gotta be an adult and make choices, though. I don't know.
For their failure, which is directly tied to the interest on U.S. Treasury bonds. As the demand for the U.S. dollar is decreasing in the world, these bonds are also failing. So what happens is when a bank basically puts a lot of its resources in these bonds.
Glad you made it from the transatlantic call-in show. I had a ton of fun.
And those bonds lose value. Okay, what happens is the putting out an email template and involve the prophetic team. And if you guys
prophetic team prays for confirmation, gets the same thing. Also hears oil.
I've been following us. You know, this is how we roll. Okay, we get a word. Okay, God confirm it. And then we also involve our prophetic team when we say we want to make sure that we all are in agreement on this decision. And so as we're praying about this, the prophetic team keeps hearing oil. They keep hearing oil again and again and again. And I'm like, oil? Like, I mean, like, what, are we supposed to like invest in oil now? Like, what is going on? So I called up one of our advisors and I just said, hey, tell me everything you know about.
You heard table and immediately went to bank, but your brain didn't go oil. Being anointed with oil is a thing in the Bible a lot.
Oil. And he's a top 10 crypto advisor in the world. Done.
Okay, let's read the article about this guy. It's Jesus Christ, I've cringed enough. Trump hasn't picked a VP yet. It's not going to be Pence, though. That's for fucking sure. Anyway, so that guy. The Signature and Silvergate banks had collapsed weeks earlier, signaling the need to look into other investment options beyond financial institutions, he said. With divine wisdom, he was setting the rails for God's wealth transfer. Shortly afterward, Regalado, and his wife, Caitlin Regalado, launched a cryptocurrency index coin and began selling it to members of his Victorious Grace Church and other Christian communities in the Denver area. They sold it through the Kingdom Wealth Exchange, an online cryptocurrency market he created, controlled, and operated. The Regaldos raised more than $3.2 million from over 300 investors. Tong Shang, Securities Commissioner for Colorado, said in a civil complaint, the couple's sales pitch were filled with prayer and quotes from the Bible, encouraging investors to have faith in their investment would lead to abundance and blessings, the complaint said. Yeah. The thing with Jim Baker, there are other religious scammers that, you know, do the whole prosperity gospel thing. But the thing is, they don't normally do it through unregistered securities. Like, Jim Baker scams money and is like, here's your bucket of slop, loser. You know, there isn't a bucket of slop securities agency. You know what I mean? There is the SEC. So if you're going to try and grift people, which I don't recommend, that's a not nice thing to do, don't do it through unregistered securities. Holy fucking shit. What did you think was gonna happen? I feel like God should have sent you a warning. Like, hey, no. Fenekagami says the problem is whatever complaint a leftist could bring against Biden, Trump is demonstrably worse. Trump won't just support Israel. He's likely to bomb Gaza himself. There's no reason to vote against Biden or sit out as a leftist other than pure spite against Biden or stupid accelerationist shit, in my opinion. Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Let me turn the fan on real quick. I'm actually getting a little warm. Colorado state regulators say that index coin was essentially worthless. Instead of helping investors acquire wealth, the Regaldos used around $1.3 million of the investment funds to bankroll lavish expenditures, including a Range Rover, jewelry, cosmetic dentistry, and extravagant vacations. The complaint said. The money also paid for renovations to the Regaldos' Denver home, the complaint said. In a stunning video statement posted online Friday, several days after the civil charges were filed, Eli Regaldo did not dispute that he and his wife profited from the crypto venture. Quote, the charges are that Caitlin and I pocketed $1.3 million, and I just want to come out and say that those charges are true, he said, adding a few $100,000 went to a home remodel that the Lord told us to do. All right, well, unless you can get him on the stand, I think you just admitted to a serious crime. That doesn't even make sense. Like, let's say he wasn't even citing God here. If he was like, my friend Greg told me to do it. Like, okay? Greg is an accomplice then? Like, what am I supposed to do with that? Oh, if God told you to do it, federal law doesn't apply. Steakum, thanks for gifting a sub. Appreciate it. Always appreciate gift subs. And I can't believe he just said it. I can't believe he just admitted it. That's so funny. Eli Regaldo promised the currency was worth far more than what investors paid, the complaint said. You can't say that. You can't guarantee returns. Jesus Christ. Didn't he watch The Polka King? Ugh. The Colorado Division of Securities started investigating the Regaldos after it received complaints from an anonymous investor, a state spokesperson told CNN. Chan filed civil fraud charges last week against the pastor and Caitlin Regaldo, accusing them of violations of the anti-fraud licensing and registration provisions of the state's Securities Act. CNN has reached out to the Regaldos for comment. It was unclear Wednesday whether they have retained an attorney. One would hope for them, but... In video statements, Eli Regaldo has said that God led him to open Index Coin and convinced him that it was a safe and profitable investment measure. Let's see what this video was.
And so the Lord's saying, we're going to have to do a new thing. It's a new thing. Ever since we started this, it's a new thing. People are like, well, why are you building your own blockchain? Because it has to be its own new thing. God wants it that way. Why?
Temple OS didn't work out, so God got into crypto and Web3.
Why are you building your own exchange? Because it has to be its own new thing. God wants it that way. Well, why are you launching this way? Because it has to be its own new thing. God wants it that way. Period, said, done. And
he was called to testify. Would he have to swear on a Bible? According to Oh God, yes.
Every time that we have said this, and everyone thought we were crazy until we did it. And this is the last little bullet in the gun before this thing gets fired. Okay.
Is the gun metaphor the best? Whatever. Aaliyah Explores says, whenever I hear the word pastor, I feel a wave of unease and distrust. And that catches up. Cool. He told investors that index coins were highly sought after and offered an unparalleled risk-to-return ratio, the complaint said. But the state says index coin was not backed by assets, making it a risky currency. There was no market for it or interest in it beyond its pool of investors, the complaint said. I think you've just described pretty much all of crypto, but okay. The Regaldos used technical terms to confuse investors and mislead them into believing that the coins were valued between $10 and $12, even though they were purchased for $1.50 or at times given away, the complaint said. Regaldo took advantage of the trust and faith in his own Christian community and peddled outlandish promises of wealth to them when he sold them essentially worthless cryptocurrencies, Chan said in a statement. The Regaldos failed to explain to investors how the index coin market would work or that their Kingdom Wealth Exchange was the only platform upon which anyone could buy, sell, or trade the currency, the complaint said. So they're Chuck E. Cheese tokens. Except even at Chuck E. Cheese, I can play video games with them. What can I do with these? Probably not play video games with them. When index coin failed to yield financial returns, Eli Regaldo posted videos reassuring investors and saying, according to the complaint, they just had to wait for God's plan to unfold. God's plan is hopefully new investors coming in so I can pay off the old ones. Something about Peter and Paul? I don't know. That seems biblical. Robbing Peter to pay Paul? That's 100% Bible, right? Those who don't know, a Ponzi scheme was referred to as robbing Peter to pay Paul before Charles Ponzi became famous. So, fun. We launched an exchange, he said. The exchange technology failed. Things went downhill, and from that point forward, we've just been waiting on the Lord. I know this looks bad, he said later in the clip. I know this looks terrible. He also said he and his wife used $500,000 of their investors' funds to pay taxes to the IRS. Oh boy! He reiterated that God led him and his wife to leave their marketing company in 2021, get into cryptocurrency, and multiply investors' money. God told them to trust him to provide the funds, he said. You know, in the Bible, it's actually funny. They tell you how to identify a false prophet. It says if they prophesy and the prophecy doesn't come true, then they're a liar and they should be stoned to death. Non sequitur. Don't know why I brought that up. It's unclear when an investor first complained to the state officials. In November, Regaldo announced that Index Coin and Kingdom Wealth Exchange networks were down and asked people to stop being ruled by mammon, chasing material wealth. Hey, could we have our money back? Stop chasing mammon, sinners! Sorry. Things are heating up in the mammon fandom. Jen with a £2 super chat says, it's the Trump defense. I totally did it. But that's also the narcissist's prayer. Fun fact. As recently as last week, Eli Regaldo expressed hope that divine intervention would bail him out and his investors. Don't we all? Either I misheard God, or God is still not done with this project. He's going to do a new thing, he said in the video posted Friday. What we're praying for and what we're believing for still is that God is going to do a miracle. God's going to work a miracle in the financial sector, and everyone who invested is going to be able to receive money back. A court hearing is scheduled for Monday. Well, that's probably not going to go great for him. Weird defense. God told me to do it is not a legal defense that is going to get you anywhere. Just a thought. Oh, look, I'm going to like the video I was in. Oh, no, I already did. Good for me. Alright, what weird, stupid bullshit can we watch? God bless. The Bed Bath & Beyond people are still doing their thing, by the way. I'm not really covering it often, because, you know, how often can I just say they're delusional and aren't accepting that their stock is canceled? But they're still going, by the way, in case anyone's curious. What channel was what? The guy? Index Coin, the channel for the crypto thing. Here's a link if you'd like it for some reason.
Where is it? I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I misplaced my lottery ticket. I bought it last week.
Wait,
and
is this the Top Slots guy? Is this the same guy that did No. Did he do the blackjack? He did another gambling bad VHS video.
I don't know where it is. Hint number 1.
Oh, the Line channel. I'm an idiot. I was just on the Line. Duh. I'm sorry. I'll give you a link to it. Yeah, I was just on the Transatlantic Call-In show for the Line. Here is a link to that if you'd like to watch it after this stream. I had a great time, and seems like I'll be co-hosting again at some point. So here is a link. Sorry I misunderstood you. Here's a link for YouTube as well if anyone wants to check it out.
1. It doesn't take magic to win the lottery.
I mean, correct. But it's also not going to happen.
Just a nice slow pace and a little research. Hint number 2. Buying a lottery ticket is as simple as walking into your local convenience store.
Wait, are you going to explain to me how to buy a lottery ticket? You ask for a lottery ticket. What? MH Darkbeast says, it's a shame we missed out on getting this in costume choice for the subathon. It would have been great, though I am seeing less expensive official versions. Wait. Oh, yeah. The weird Barbie thing. I think that's cute. Don't know if it'd work on me. I don't know if pink looks good on me. I've never been a pink person. I like purple. I can do pink lipstick. And I say that, it's funny, because I'm kind of wearing, like, pink, peachy colored pants right now. But, like, generally, I'm not a big pink person. Stromboli says, bits just for getting out there with other channels, because you deserve visibility. Thank you. Thank you. I get really nervous. I'm not good at interacting with other people. I've gotten worse at it as I've gotten older. I don't know why. I feel like I come off as weird, especially because, like, when I talk to new people, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm socially awkward and weird. And that's not a good thing to say if you are, because no one cares. It's weirder if you bring it up. So it becomes sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, where I don't know how to actually interact with other human beings on a level outside of the superficial, because I'm so scared of being judged I can't be myself. Whew, that was a lot. I'm just vomiting things out today, huh? Stromboli says, bits, nope, read that. Cool, hydrate. Are you have more interpersonal conversations outside the TV tube? With some people. I'm not very good at it. Not good at it.
And handing them money. Hint number 3. 60% of the time, the numbers published in a newspaper are wrong.
What? That cannot be true. You're telling me 60% of lottery numbers that were ever printed in newspapers back in the day were fucking wrong? I don't believe you. I don't believe that.
Biggest hint of all. When I buy my tickets, I take them home and I tape them right on the refrigerator, all 4 sides, so that it can't be moved. Today we're going to show you a simple mathematical equation that will show you the odds of figuring out any lottery that you're going to play.
There's no figure out. There's no system. It's random numbers. Unless you're cheating, there's no strategy. It's random numbers.
You divide the 720 into the 10 billion.
Oh.
And that gives you 13,983,816 to 1. There's a lot of different ways to come up with your numbers for the lottery. I was in a novelty store the other day, and I found this one. You just shake, and it comes up with the 6 numbers. Now we know
individual outcomes of dice rolls or card pulls or random number generations are not affected by previous numbers pulled. I feel like he's doing a thing where he's like, these numbers are common. That's not how random chance works. Statistics, motherfucker.
that nothing in this...
It's been pointed out to me that I say motherfucker very Michigandery, and I can't stop hearing it now, even when I try not to do it. Like, if I tried to say it in a non-Michigan-y way, I would be like, motherfucker. Nope, it's still, I got a little bit of that motherfucker. I don't know why. Almost sounds Wisconsin. I don't like that.
Life is perfect, except maybe my wife, Frances. But balls have a tendency to come up time after time after time. To win at the lottery, I suggest you pick numbers that come up more frequently. When you play the lottery, as much as 50 to 60% of the money goes towards schools and other community projects. So just think of playing...
See, here's the problem, though, is then states say we can give less money to schools because it's being made up by the lottery. It's the whole thing.
The lottery as an easy way of paying your taxes.
Or you can just pay your taxes. Like, they don't negate each other. That doesn't make sense. It's also kind of funny. I don't know if people have heard this. I'm sure they have. It's an idiom that scratch-off lottery tickets and the lottery in general is a tax on people who don't understand statistics.
And remember, you must pay your taxes. The next time you're in Guadalajara, be sure and play their lottery. But also remember, they pay you in pesos. So you've tried all the systems, picked all the numbers, tried all the numbers, feeling a little frustrated? Let me show you how to relieve that tension.
Oh, this isn't a person I want to own guns. That's a shame. I'm mad I didn't win the lottery, so I'm gonna go shoot a gun. I feel like if you're training yourself, that when you're angry, shooting a gun at something as a way to deal with that might not be a good thing to, like, train your brain into. Baha says, I'm sorry for this, and posts the link that we'll get to in a sec. Remember, I think Red Letter Media has covered a different video this guy has done, because he looks familiar.
My number shaker?
For those who, again, I might have some new viewers from the Transatlantic Call-In show, I'm very into old VHS weirdness. Like, if you're familiar with Red Letter Media, I do streams where I just look at old, forgotten VHS nonsense, because I think it's funny and interesting sometimes as a cleanse. So yeah, I recognize this guy, unfortunately. Sometimes you can recognize certain people who show up and scam VHS tapes a lot, because that was, like, their job. You know how today there's people who on the internet just scam people for a living, basically? People like Andrew Tate. I mean, he does other stuff too, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the online scam shit. People used to do that with VHS tapes. So. Stromboli says that mustache belongs on a better caliber of person. And Logarth says, that, sir, is a kitted out Ruger 1022. What are you doing with that? Come on! I tried to give emotion in that reading, like I knew what you were saying. I don't know gun things. I know you shoot them, That's all I know. Shot a gun like twice in my entire life.
From the novelty
It was scary.
store, well, those numbers didn't work either.
Thanks, Rachology. I'm putting these links off to the side, by the way. We're going to get to them in a sec. Boop. Oh, I'm trying to help you, motherfucker. Yeah, this is what I sound like.
Motherfucker.
Really?
I'm just eternity, motherfucker. I'm just trying to help you.
I'm sorry, but I don't need your help.
Yes, you do, motherfucker. You do.
This is just me in the future. I time traveled. The conspiracies finally got to me, and it broke my brain so hard I fell back into the past. It's a shame. Could be worse. Michelle Gladio says, Wingnutty hippies have the dance of birth. Right sign chuds have this shit. We don't talk about the dance of birth in this house. I know exactly the video you're talking about, and that's a video we definitely can't show on stream.
You need my help, sir. Can't you see that, you son of a bitch?
Could you please just let me check out my groceries?
Fuck you. I'm trying to help you, motherfucker.
Wow, this is...
You gotta ask Jesus Christ.
I don't have to do anything.
We're all sinners.
Oh, that's a shame. Apparently future time travel me has found Jesus. That's a bummer.
Okay.
He's not gonna force you to do it.
You're sinning right now.
No, I'm not, motherfucker. You fucking accuser. Get the fuck out of here, you fucking accuser.
That does go pretty hard. You motherfucking accuser. I'm just gonna start calling people that. I think that's a good look for me.
You motherfucking accuser!
You fucking accuser. This is from 1906. This is called The Consequences of Feminism. Interesting. I'm assuming, is this like an extension of, I don't know if anyone's seen the propaganda comics from the time that were anti, like, first wave feminism. It's pretty much the same shit you see today from, like, manosphere weirdos. MH Dark Beast, thanks for the link. We will take a look at that after this. Oh, I get it. The joke is that they're making hats. They're making women's hats, and she's the boss. It took me a second. I was waiting for the sexism to happen. I was like, wait, no. This scenario is supposed to be absurd. The sexism is coming from inside the house already. Sorry. You ever do that where you watch something, you're like, wait a minute. Oh, I see what I'm supposed to be seeing now. Took me a second. I was waiting for the shoe to drop. It did. The joke here is, oh my god, can you imagine feminism where men make women's hats and women are sometimes the boss? What of it? Make the goddamn hats or don't. What the fuck? Am I a Buster Keaton fan? I like Buster Keaton. I'm not the biggest, like, I like silent films and stuff from mostly a historical perspective on film. Like, I don't watch them often, but especially shorter stuff, and a lot of it is. Buster Keaton as well as Charlie Chaplin. Really enjoy them. Anything with like physical comedy and stunt work from that era. Really great. Buster Keaton did stunts that were just out of this goddamn world for the time, and I still can't believe he did half of them. Really impressive. Thanks, Eric, for the link. Yeah, I'm assuming they're being effeminate. Oh no, a woman minding her own business and having a beer at a restaurant or pub? Can't have that. me, men of the early 1900s, you know how we constantly harass women, but that's totally cool? Wouldn't it suck if it was like the opposite, though? My brain, it hurts. My brain hurts. Like, clearly they recognize this isn't good if they don't want it to happen to them, but, like, that doesn't cause reflection. Men aren't supposed to get harassed by women. Women are supposed to get harassed by men, obviously. Seems to be the statement here. Ferris Heck says, let's see, millenary? Wait, millionary. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. And hat making was also a feminine job during this era, too. Oh, I assumed. I'm just imagining any, like men from this period seeing this who are, like, subby. You know what I mean? Being like, wait, no, is this supposed to be bad? I like this. So I'm telling you, in 1906, there were definitely dudes who wanted a dommy mommy. They wouldn't have used those words, but they wanted it. Oh my goodness, a woman tipping her hat to a man. Ugh. Dirtbag 1906 lady. I want this twink destroyed. In a way he would enjoy. Again, like, the imagery of, like... So they, on some level, recognize... Alright, so this is the reverse of a thing that's normal for the time, let's say. And they're like, normalcy should be a man sitting there and doing nothing while women work for him, not the other way around. Like, on some level, they see that this situation is fucked up, but not because of the inequity, but because they believe that it's reversed. It's not that the situation is bad, it's just that the roles are bad. How interesting. Oh my god. H. Baird says, truly, the past is a different country, with an outdated military and ample natural resources. I'm gonna hope the US military never invents a time machine. That actually is an interesting story. Someone must have written that. A sci-fi story where like, fascist or shitty military somewhere in the future starts invading their past selves in order to maintain their society. I don't know what you would do with that, but I feel like Philip K. Dick would have killed it. Doctor Who kinda did that once. Yeah, here's a link. Oh my god, I literally watched, was someone talking about, the Violent Years? I just saw someone talking about Ed Wood and a girl gang, so I gotta assume you're talking about the Violent Years. The Violent Years is fucking great. I love Ed Wood deeply. A female director made this? That's a shame. I have the Blu-ray for the violent years, and they literally have a option that's pick a random man attack, and it just takes you to one of the scenes of the man attacks. It's pretty funny. Was Ed Wood trans? It's not. You'd have to speculate. I'm gonna use he him pronouns because that's what he used when he was alive, and I'm not gonna assume. We've talked about this before on stream when we watched Glenn and Glenda, actually. He was a cross-dresser. His behavior and his writing in the movies that he has done make me think that if he was born today, he might identify as trans. But again, we're talking about a dead person, so it doesn't matter. But when I watch Ed Wood movies and this kind of thing comes up, when the topic of gender comes up, it doesn't sound like he's talking like a cross-dresser. It sounds like he's talking like a trans woman. I'm just gonna put it out there. That's my view. He's been dead for decades, so, like, you don't have to take that seriously or care. My speculation, which is completely unfounded based on a dead person, is that I get vibes. I get vibes. I get egg vibes. But whatever. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch Glenn and Glenda. Yeah. Again, this just feels like femdom porn. Can you watch an Ed Wood movie if it's in the public domain? Some of them are. I think the original version of Plan 9 might be in the public domain. Could be wrong. I'll have to double check. Pretty sure, I'm like 90% sure Glenn and Glenda is. But who knows? Yeah, if someone said that sounds like Steve Shives, this is not like original music. This is something someone added to this. This is copyright-free modern music. I believe Steve has used it, or some version of it at some point. Saturday, by the way, is the patron-only live stream, and we're gonna watch a movie, something public domain, you know, it'll be a legal thing, it's legal. But Saturday we're gonna watch a movie, so if you want to join the Patreon, do so, it'll be fun. I like John Waters, yeah. Sounds like Kevin McLeod. I think it's probably been around for a while. So. What did I think about the TikToker that said Kurt Cobain was probably an egg? I know people get I know people got pissed, but I don't think she said it was a sure thing. I feel uncomfortable enough. The only person I would ever talk about this is Ed Wood. Like, I would never talk about another person who is dead who can't talk about themselves and try and prescribe or speculate, because I just think it's kind of rude, you know? The only reason I do it with Ed Wood is very specifically because Ed Wood made a movie in the, like, 50s about trans people. And, like, again, he has some interesting stuff to say about it, and I think it's worth it talking about his films and his work through that lens, but, like, I don't know, Kurt Cobain, that was recent enough that I'm uncomfortable even thinking about that. Like, I don't think it's good to speculate about people who are dead like that. It's just not fair. People can't talk for themselves. I'm not saying it's wrong if you do it. It's just, personally, I try not to do it. Ed Wood is, like, the one exception, very specifically because of his body of work. Oh, I forget not everyone knows trans words. Egg is a slang word to mean a trans person who is still in denial and doesn't necessarily accept that they're trans yet or understand it. When their egg cracks, they come to terms with that. If I could have a conversation with one deceased person from history, who would it be? Assuming universal translators, either Jacques Lacan or... I'm blanking on his name, even though I talked about it earlier, but, oh, there it is, Richard Hofstadter. I think that'd be interesting. Those are people I'd be interested to talk to about modern conspiratorial beliefs and their thoughts on it. Do I remember exactly when my egg cracked? I know the moment that I was honest with myself. It's hard to talk about because people lie to themselves, and if you've never experienced this, I think this is something that, like, LGBT people probably understand what I'm talking about, because I think a lot of us deal with this layer of protective heteronormativity, cis-normativity when we're growing up. So even though we think all of these things that are clearly signs we're either, you know, gay, bi, trans, whatever, we think to ourselves, but that's a thing other people are, so I'm not that. It's weird that I share a lot of these things with those people, but I'm not those people. I'm a quote-unquote normal person, because that's how society treats it, especially when you're a kid. That's how you see it. So you distance yourself. There's a cognitive dissonance. So I've known since I was a kid. Like, I can explicitly tell you times when I was a kid where it was, like, obvious and I knew it and I was struggling with it. But unfortunately, I pushed it down. I repressed it. I tried not to think about it. I just wouldn't deal with it. So if you're asking, like, when did I know? When I was a kid. When did I accept that? When did I, like, internalize that and stop blocking myself from, like, that because it was too painful to imagine the struggle of having to come out? And, like, when I decided I want to transition and I want to come out about this, because I don't want to continue my life if I'm not, was basically my thought at the time. So I remember that. But prior to that, there's a lot, you know, it's all through my life. It's just that there's that extra layer in your mind that tells you no, that keeps you distant from a thing that you can see but you won't acknowledge. I don't know how to explain it. If you haven't experienced this, it's hard to explain knowing something that you know about yourself, but not allowing yourself to think about it, even though you know it. You literally put it in a corner, you hide it in a closet, that's why that's the phrase that gets used, and you just don't address it. So. But yes, I remember when I finally came to terms and was like, I need to do this. The tutu incident. It wasn't an incident. I wore that tutu a lot. But yes. But that isn't the only one. That's just an obvious one. Not to say that, like, kids of any gender can't wear a tutu or whatever. I was wearing it because it made me feel in a way that made me feel nice. It made me feel pretty and cute, you know? I was a kid playing pretend. I was a little girl playing ballerina. Other people didn't see it that way. That's another story. Yeah, that happened, Yenzo. Oh my goodness, can you imagine a man taking care of children? Women aren't allowed to go and have fun. They need to be home and take care of the children so the men can go have fun all the time. It was when I realized how wrong Butternips was. Yeah. Butternips was unfortunate. Is Butternip still on the old channel? Probably. I don't have control over the channel, so I have no idea. I have nothing to do with it. Probably. And didn't the Franco-Prussian War start because of this movie? Yes. Fact. Okay. Oh, we're almost done. There's only 50 seconds, chat. I know, the song is drilled into my head, too. Oh, the Butternips thing. There was a charity thing, raised $10,000 for charity, and the goal at 10,000 was, I will rub butter on my nipples and lick it off myself. And I did. This is before I was out, and before I was transitioning, and before I had taken hormones or anything, so I looked a lot different than I do now. Never get Butternips again unless starts blank blank blank. I can't say that. Twitch doesn't like if you say that website name. Believe me, chat. If I felt comfortable enough with my body where I felt people would pay me for pictures of it, it would be a thing. Let's see. Barbie creator. Oh, yeah. I gotta email you back, Spokane Dogman. Sorry, I've had other stuff going on.
She's had more shoes than Imelda Marcos. Try $1 billion on for size. In 35 years, she hasn't aged a day or gained a pound. And she's had at least 50 careers.
Weird to bring up.
The perfect woman? Her fans think so. Last year, more than 1 million.
Oh, duh. Barbie.
Barbie dolls.
I thought she was talking about the creator, not just the doll.
Were sold each week. For the woman who conceived Barbie, life hasn't been quite so perfect. But Ruth Handler is as much a survivor as the doll even big girls won't give up.
Good morning.
The stakes are high.
No running. Okay, I'm sorry.
For Tammy Gary and 1,500 other anxious collectors here in Orlando at the annual Barbie Festival. They have one goal, to buy rare Barbie dolls.
Oh, she is beautiful.
Who is responsible for this madness?
This is just the ultimate for us having you here.
This woman.
Ruth, you are my hero.
Ruth Handler, founder of Mattel Toys and creator of the most popular doll in the world.
Okay, we're going in.
This is Handler's first visit ever to the annual pilgrimage of Barbie collectors.
She was played by Rhea Perlman in the movie Barbie. It was pretty good. I like Barbie.
Their first chance to buy Handler's new autobiography, Dream Doll.
To whom?
Believe it or not, for Barbie fanatics, Ruth Handler is almost a holy woman.
So happy to meet you. Oh, please, you don't have to cry. They really
Rachel,
are carried
thanks
away
for 3 months of Prime.
by
Appreciate it.
how important Barbie is to them. Barbie is the most important thing in their life.
So important that last year sales were over $1 billion. That's billion as in Barbie. Every single second, there are 2 Barbie dolls sold from Bloomingdale's to Bangkok. At the start of Handler's career, her priority was not raising Barbie.
I don't know what was driving me, but I needed to prove myself from the day I was born.
She was born in Denver in 1916, and get this, she didn't play with dolls. Handler preferred working in her sister's store. She met her husband,
And
Elliot.
that tracks, doesn't it? Didn't want to play with baby dolls. That was the primary thing that was the thing at the time. Or paper fashion dolls, maybe, if you were lucky.
An artist and designer at 16. They married 5 years later, moved to California, and started a business making dollhouse furniture, with Ruth out there selling, at a time when most women stayed home. How would you describe yourself?
Gutsy. I always kind of considered myself a fluke because there were no others like me. I loved my children, but I wasn't suited to taking care of a home.
Handler knew what suited her was running a business. Her small company grew to become a giant, Mattel Toys.
I was in a sea of men.
Did the men in your company give you a hard time?
They either liked me or they had to go.
My Barbie doll is really real.
And there were things the men definitely didn't like. Say, Ruth's idea for not just another baby doll, but an all-grown-up doll. Barbie. With very grown-up features.
They didn't think that a doll with breasts was exactly appropriate.
Why was it important to you that this doll have breasts?
The whole idea was that a little girl could dream dreams of growing up, and every grown-up that she saw had breasts.
One little girl who did not like Barbie was Ruth's own daughter, Barbara. Yes, Mom named the doll after her, and Barbara was mortified.
She got quite embarrassed by the whole thing.
What did your children think of the fact that you were a working mother and worked very hard?
I think Barbara resented it very much through the years because all her friends' parents were available. And she used to ask me why I had to be different than everybody else, and that really hurt me.
Soon, her son Ken was not too happy either.
Oh my God, did she really do that? Jesus Christ! Yeah, that probably wasn't a good call.
In 1961, Handler introduced the doll with his name.
The Ken doll, when it came out 2 years later, had no bulge in the appropriate place, and the kids teased him.
Get both Barbie and Ken. Barbie and Ken's early years were carefree, but then came the rise of feminism, and Barbie became an enemy. The attacks have never stopped. I think the main criticism of Barbie is no woman can ever look like Barbie anatomically. That young girls will eventually be...
It annoys... I wasn't going to say anything, because then I got to go off on a whole tangent. It annoys me that they framed it as, and then came feminism, like feminism doesn't predate fucking Barbies. You can say second wave feminism predates second wave feminism, but holy fucking shit, really?
Be dissatisfied with their own bodies.
Many women have a problem with their own bodies as they grow older. I cannot believe that the doll causes that.
In the beginning, Barbie just seemed to be consumed with what she was wearing. Just
remember that episode of Dexter's Lab? Which one? Let's see.
Centuries. I've got to revive her.
I do remember the kid wanted to be at a Star Trek convention, but it was a Barbie convention.
You ruined the collector's value! Never remove from box!
Yikes on that depiction. But yeah, I remember that episode.
Clothes.
Connie, the whole concept of Barbie was that her clothing would...
Hats off.
Permit
what do you want me to wear?
The child to pretend they were in a
flower crown? Can't do it.
Certain kind of activity.
The image you were projecting was someone who could play tennis and go to a prom
yes,
and be a nurse, not a doctor.
I never dreamed of trying to change the world. I wanted to show the world as it is. And at that time, there were no women doctors.
I think Barbie actually was a kind of a pioneer in a positive way when she first came out.
M.G. Lord was so consumed by the Barbie phenomenon that she studied the doll for 3 years. The result? Her soon-to-be-published book, Forever Barbie. What do you think Barbie represents?
She was a rebel. Barbie was independent. Barbie didn't define herself by relationships of responsibility to men or to her family. Barbie pointed the way out of the kitchen.
No brunettes, can you believe that? Today, little girls in America own an average of 8 Barbie dolls. Older women, and men too, collect hundreds,
gasp,
even thousands of Barbies.
There you are, my dear.
When Ruth Handler signs a doll, its value increases.
Hi to Tammy, T-A-M-I, please.
And even Bob Mackie is here. The famous fashion designer dresses Carol Burnett, Cher, and of course, Barbie.
I just am so glad you're here. This is why I came.
16,
Just how much are true believers willing to spend?
You bought it $17,000. Buyer number 395. 395.
That was a bunch of money.
That was a lot of money.
A bunch of money is just what Barbie and other popular Mattel toys made for the handlers. They were worth a few $100 million. Life was good, but the dollhouse was about to collapse.
Things got very bad at Mattel.
Mattel suffered big losses in the early 1970s. Federal investigators began looking into the company's books. Handler walked out in 1975. 3 years later, she and 4 other executives were indicted by a federal grand jury for allegedly falsifying earnings and sales records. Did you
Don't do that.
anything illegal? No, I never did anything illegal. There were illegal acts performed in our organization. My error was not ferreting them out and firing the people immediately.
Not according to the government. A judge sentenced her to 5 years of community service and perhaps to a lifetime of doubt about her remarkable accomplishments. Do you think today that you have proved yourself?
They made a joke about it in the movie.
That's a hard question.
They made one joke, I think, about her tax issues in the movie.
Answer, I guess so.
I get the feeling that you cannot declare success.
Well, I've had a lot of bad things happen. And so, you got me. Can you stop this for a minute? I don't know what happened to me.
This is a woman who does not cry easily.
The problem with me is the extremes are so great. The heights are so high and the depths are so low.
And there have been more lows in recent years. In June, her son Ken died of a brain disease at age 50. And for 25 years, Ruth Handler has been fighting breast cancer. You obviously realize the irony of creating Barbie and insisting that she have breasts.
Yes.
And the fact that you have the loss of your own.
Yeah, it is ironic. Somehow my life has evolved around breasts, purely by accident, I'm sure.
Ruth Handler had a mastectomy in 1970.
I had been fighting to be a respected female executive all my life, and when I lost my breast, it was as if I had lost my femininity. Oh, you came looking for me. Am I late?
No. Handler got a breast prosthesis, and then, out of adversity, an idea about artificial breasts.
They were designed by men, obviously, who didn't have to wear the damn things. And besides that, they didn't match the other side. The two sides just didn't match.
I imagine they were more concerned about the aesthetic.
Losing a breast is not the end of the world, ladies and gentlemen.
The former businesswoman turned patient turned back to business to help heal herself and others.
Walking around hiding myself for so many years.
Handler got together with her doctor and some former Mattel designers.
I revolutionized the breast business.
Woman by woman,
I didn't know that.
Stork
That's
came to
cool
promote.
that she got involved in that. She had the connections in the manufacturing industry. It's nice.
I want you to feel.
Suppose they're tuning in right now.
It still gives me the same coverage.
In 1989, Ruth Handler lost her other breast to cancer. 2 years later, thinking it was time to finally slow down, she sold Nearly Me.
The rest breast.
But she still spends a few weeks a year telling women about her breast device because she says it's the work that has meant the most to her.
May I slip this in just to see?
Sure. She's also discovering something else. Just what it means to be Barbie's mom. You are successful.
I know that. I know that. Over and over and over again, people said to me, "Thank you for making my life better." On 1 or 2 occasions, they told me they were Nearly Me wearers, and that I understood. But
Barbie?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to put Barbie down. I am learning that she is far more important than I could have ever myself understood.
Ruth and her husband celebrated their 56th anniversary in June, and their daughter Barbara says she's finally gotten over the sibling rivalry she felt for her namesake, Barbie.
Harold Wienisman with 24 months says 2 years. Wow, can't believe it's been that long. Love you, girl. Thank you. Happy 2nd anniversary. Someone sent this.
Put God first, all right.
Wait, why can't he? Oh, I probably have to make this mono.
Thank you, Mr.
E?
Yeah, instead of God. Let's put God first, all right. Thank you, Mr. Papillon. Wait.
Sheriff Don, Marty was telling me a little earlier about some kind of problem he was having at school, and I wanted to find out what was going on. What seems to be happening at school, Marty? Is it a big problem? Yes, a very serious one, too.
Oops, didn't
Well,
mean that.
exactly what's going on, Marty? Well, it seems like I'm hearing a lot of swear words.
I do not like, hey, ventriloquist dummies, I'm not entirely anti-ventriloquist dummies. There are some good ones. I hate this ventriloquist dummy. I'm horrified. Why would you do this?
Kids are using swear words these days, and I'm afraid one of them's going to slip out of my mouth one of these days. Oh, well, Marty, can't you just avoid those kids that are using the bad words? No way. It's everywhere. In the gym, in class, even at recess and lunch. Everywhere I go, I keep hearing...
Am I pro Jeff Dunham? I am vehemently anti-Dunham.
Kids using bad words. And I just don't know what to do about it, Ron. Well, Marty, you know, it seems like we do hear a lot of bad language today. I know what you're talking about. It seems like even when I go into restaurants and places like that, I hear people talking like that. It just seems like people don't care how they use the Lord's name.
Maybe mind your own goddamn business.
Well, what if
other people are having conversations that make me uncomfortable that have nothing to do with me? All right. Well, there's your answer. Nothing to do with you. Logarth says, "Oh, Andy, the flesh of the innocent calls to me again with its siren call. I'm afraid I might just slip and take a big ol' bite out of one of the kids." Okay, then.
am I going to do, Ron?
Watch your profanity. Captain Squid says, "The problem is Marty. Every time he goes into a room and people see him, they go, 'Jesus Christ, what the fuck is that?'" I have that problem, too.
That come to my mind, Marty. First of all, why don't you try immediately praying and asking the Lord to take those bad words and thoughts out of your mind? Say, that's a good idea. And then, Marty, why don't you try thinking about some scripture? Like what? Well, one that comes to my mind right away is Philippians 4:8, which says, "Whatsoever things are true, honest, just, pure, lovely, think upon these things." Oh!
I'm sorry, did you just say you heard about this guy in a true crime podcast?
I see what you're saying, Ron. You're saying I can love the Lord with my mind by thinking on good, clean, pure thoughts and by filling my head full of scripture.
I don't know who this guy is, do I? No? Should I? Oh, God. I feel as though I'm about to get involved in something that's best left alone.
That's exactly right, Marty. Unfortunately, there are people around who use bad language, but Marty, we can fill our minds
He did
full
bad
of
things.
good thoughts and scripture.
Clown house things.
Are we ready to go here? I'm
That's a
ready to
shame.
bring
That's fucked up. Hydrate. Will do.
I love to care, I love to share, 'cause two together is better than one. What's mine is yours.
Oh, what's yours is mine. 'Cause two together is twice as much fun.
Sharing is caring. We're sharing together hand in hand. Sharing is
This feels like a Benadryl dream after falling asleep on a Lisa Frank pillow.
caring. We're sharing together hand in hand.
You'll share your debts.
I'll share my song. Together we're sharing and carrying along. I love to care.
Yeah, I love to share. 'Cause two together is twice as much fun.
Sharing is caring. We're sharing together hand in hand. Sharing is caring. We're sharing together hand in hand. Sharing is caring. We're sharing together.
This is the worst song about sharing I've ever heard.
Sharing is caring. We're sharing together hand in hand. share a hug.
Holden says, I leave for 5 seconds and I come back to this Technicolor furry nightmare. The threesome song? No, that's Alan Cumming and Two Ladies. Doodly-doo-doo-doo. Two ladies, doodly-doo-doo-doo. Two ladies, doodly-doo-doo-doo. Two ladies. I've played this many times before, but for some reason it just lives in my nightmares.
Okay.
Something about the music along with the visual. Like, I feel like whenever I die and my life flashes before my eyes, my least favorite parts are going to be the parts where I watched this video, so let's add another one.
Our performance tonight is based on the 7 deadly sins of The Simpsons.
Choose to link The Simpsons to the 7 deadly sins as your theme?
No one seems to really want to watch goody-goody shows and things like that that don't have at least one deadly sin.
It has really opened our eyes as to what children are watching on simple cartoon shows, for example, The Simpsons. It's not always a good message or a good moral coming through, and parents need to realise this before they let their children watch it.
Deadly sin, deadly sin, deadly sin, deadly sin.
It's definitely supposed to be religious entertainment. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be sort of like social conservatism, family values, dog whistling.
Get busy. Here we go, here we go, here we go now. Here we go, here we go, here we go now.
You deserve this? Nothing. Sometimes bad things just happen.
All right, let's hear from our judges.
That was totally spicy. Thank you very much indeed.
Beautiful movement of colour in the finale. No, it's not too spicy for me. Yes, I enjoyed it too. I really loved it. I loved the last bit. Just such an explosive routine.
Totally spicy. Totally spicy.
Smooth machine.
Smoked machine.
Anything else before we call... Oh, Stromboli has a link. What the hell is that?
was that?
Better or worse than this? Wait, what's this? Oh, God. I know that that cuts the porn parts out, but I still don't want to risk it. Is there anything else we want to do before we call it a night? Anyone? Anything they want to talk about? Send me. Whatever. Tomorrow I'll be doing a longer stream. Today I streamed both on the line and here. Tomorrow we'll be doing a longer stream, and I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about. Maybe we'll do a foil Friday or something, I don't know. But that'll be fun. Like I said, Saturday will be the patron-only live show. Cool. Where's the Line show? It's a YouTube channel called The Line. I'll give you a link, hold on. Here's a link. Here's one for YouTube too, if you want to go watch it. When's it going up? It's up right now. So let's see who we're gonna raid. Surfs, why not? Fuck it. Have a good night, everyone. See you tomorrow. Have a good night. And bye, YouTube. Love you, Mr. Blast. Like the YouTube video. Alright. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a good night.